Peace, Love, Liberty Radio version 4.0. Prepare for launch.
OTC is go.
Packetbus is go.
PTC is go.
LPS is go.
Houston flight is go.
Mollicom.
STM is go.
Safetycom is go.
STU is go.
LRD is go.
SRO is go.
CDR is go.
Launch Director, NTD, our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
99, proceeded, 3, 2, 1, ignition. Right away, Houston.
Consequences so severe, so pull your trigger quickly, dear. Our patriots are acting up, let's punish them with fear. Hey, hey!
Hey, welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio online at fppradio.com. And, you know, I don't often mention the various outlets that carry the show. Of course, they're all listed there at fppradio.com. But one of the outlets, and it's actually the outlet where this show began as an actual live program instead of turning into the recorded live podcast. The show started out on the Liberty Radio Network, and it still airs on the Liberty Radio Network, in addition to several other online networks as well. But LRN.FM is trying to expand their coverage. Right now, it's available worldwide online at LRN.FM, but not everybody has internet. And a lot of those people live in poorer areas, but they can still access, in some parts of the world, they can access the Liberty Radio Network using free-to-air satellite. So there's people in Africa that are listening right now to my voice, and I thank you for doing so. And those people are doing that using free-to-air satellite, meaning that they have this dish and they point it at a satellite up in the sky, and it costs them nothing, monthly. There's no bill. Whereas with traditional satellite, you pay like a $35, $50, $70, $100 bill every month, plus whatever the equipment. Well, the people listening to free-to-air, they just have the equipment, they point the dish up in the sky, and they listen. And right now, the Liberty Radio Network, as I mentioned, is available via free-to-air satellite in Africa, also North and Central America, and the Liberty Radio Network is doing a fundraiser to try to expand the satellite coverage to Europe. You can go to fund.lrn.fm to learn more about this particular satellite and to donate. And there's a lot of different perks that you can get. And one of the perks, if you donate a certain amount, is you can sit in the studio during a live show or live recording of a show. And there's several shows on the Liberty Radio Network that are participating in this studio sit-in, one of which is this show, Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. So go to fund.lrn.fm. And even if you can't afford the $3,000 to sit in the studio during a live broadcast or a live recording, if you can just pitch in like $5 or $10 or even $50 towards expanding the satellite coverage, that would be greatly appreciated by everybody over at the Liberty Radio Network. So again, fund.lrn.fm. So let me jump into version 4.0 of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Version 4.0, of course, being the parts of the show to where I help you become a better version of you while I become a better version of me. And I love some of the emails that I get, not necessarily emails from listeners, because honestly, I don't get that many emails from listeners. And it's not a complaint, but if you want to send an email, you can send one to I love the show at fppradio.com. Or if you hate the show, I hate the show at fppradio.com. Or just, fill in the blank before the @ and it all winds up coming into my inbox. But there are several email lists that I'm subscribed to. And some of these have, very good, helpful insights. And that's where I get a lot of the show prep. One of these things comes from Maria Shriver's blog. And it's not written by Maria Shriver. And, whatever you think of Maria Shriver, just put that to the side for a moment. I know some people like her, some people don't. I'm sort of, the Maria Shriver agnostic. I honestly don't think about the woman at all. But she's got a blog, apparently, and somebody by the name of Stacy Kaiser wrote a blog post titled 5 Ways to Commit to Something and Make It Stick. So we'll go over this, and then what happens if you're not able to make it stick? What happens if you aren't able to actually meet the goals? Well, I've got 8 surefire ways to bounce back from a failure. So what are the ways to commit to something and to make it stick? Well, first, you have to become more engaged in what's important to you. Have you ever wondered what makes us emotionally committed? Some people are committed because they have strong feelings for a person, place, or purpose. That's one of the reasons that I do this show as well as other things, is because I'm committed to a purpose. That purpose is a more free, peaceful society. Others are striving to reach a goal. Some make commitments out of a sense of obligation because of a job or relationship that requires it from them. Commitment is the emotional backbone that gives us strength, determination, and focus, and that deeply connects to our feelings of happiness and well-being. It is nearly impossible to talk about commitment without also talking about engagement. Engagement is the act that demonstrates commitment. For example, you cannot just buy a plant and announce your commitment to take care of it. While it may be interesting for you to shout out in the store, "I am buying this plant and I will nurture it and make it grow," the true proof is in the actions that you take after you buy the plant and take it home. You will need to provide it with sunshine, water, prune its leaves, and tend to it. Show, don't tell. And these actually are not the 5 steps yet. This is sort of the preface to the 5 steps. Show, don't tell. Life works very much the same way. This being Stacy writing here, she says, "I have worked with countless couples who say they do not want to divorce, people who claim they do not want to lose their jobs or say they want to be a better parent, but they're not actively engaged in demonstrating their commitments. For example, you can show up to work and sit at a desk and call yourself committed to your job, and yet if you do not show engagement by being responsible, meeting deadlines, thinking creatively to solve problems, and meeting customer demands, you are not committed." How do you be committed? I'll tell you. Stay tuned. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's FANS.fppradio.com. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
So what are the 5 ways to build up your active engagement skills? First, you need to make conscious commitments and have a plan to back them up. Announce your actions, such as, "I am committed to spending more quality time with my family," or "I am committed to helping others more than I have in the past." Number 2, team up. Surround yourself with others who are actively engaged in what's important to them. Team up with a friend, a colleague, a life partner, or a business partner. It's easier to be committed when you are working towards something together that you all care about. Let your actions do the talking, and this was mentioned in sort of the preface to the list here. Your actions, your language, your body language all reflect your engagement. Follow through on your conscious commitments. Balance expectations. And this is something that a lot of people don't really do, is they set a goal and then they're all in on the goal, even if it's an unrealistic goal, but you have to balance your expectations. Make a schedule to invest the necessary time and energy to be engaged in what's important in your life. Balance your abilities to meet others' expectations as well as your own. And number 5 here on 5 things or 5 ways to commit to something and to make it stick. You need to regularly evaluate your commitments. Do you have too many or not the right ones? It can be difficult to maintain momentum if you are unhappy or if you feel that what you're investing in is not being accomplished to the desired results. Take time out to examine the situation and adjust as needed. The good news about building skills in the area of engaged commitment is that they apply to any endeavor that you care about, whether it be relationships, work, family, health, community, etc. So now is the time to take the first step. Determine what is important to you. Commit to those people or actions and engage to become a better, happier you. And, but before I get on to what do you do if you don't wind up meeting your goal, because, that's also a realistic possibility, as you set out to do a goal and not every goal winds up being met. So, how do you bounce back from that? But before I get into that, I just want to mention a podcast that I was listening to recently, and I've mentioned it before, The School of Greatness. And I forget who the guest was. And, this is one of those times where the message is more important than the messenger. Again, I forget who the guest was. But the question was about, how do you find what you want to do in life? What is your purpose? And the lady that was being interviewed, she is like a motivational speaker of some sort. And she said that she would often tell people, find the thing that drives you. Find the thing that you just absolutely want to do. Find your passion. They say that, if you follow your passion, you'll never work a day in your life. If you are able to, make money doing what you love. And, on the one hand, I kind of agree because, I really enjoy the work that I do. But, I also work. I will say that, it is work. There's nothing else that I would rather be doing to earn money, unless, maybe. But this is a family-friendly show. But I digress. Yes, if you are doing what you're passionate about, it doesn't seem as tedious as work that you hate. But anyway, she said that, she would always tell people, find what you're passionate about. And one day she got a letter from somebody who said, I went to your workshop and I'm more depressed now than I was when I showed up because you said find what you're passionate about and find a way to make money doing that, but I don't know what my passion is. And it's really sad that, people don't know what their passion is. So she said that she has sort of honed her or changed the message a little bit, and instead of saying find your passion or follow your passion, follow your creativity. Follow your curiosity, the things that you're curious about. And, you could be like a little bee or a butterfly or something, just going from like flower to flower because each thing is curious. You're curious about each little thing. So follow your curiosity or your passion. Sometimes those are the same. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes you don't have a passion. Sometimes you don't have a curiosity. But, everybody has at least one of the two. So follow that. And I just felt that was worth mentioning because several times throughout here it talked about, like following your purpose. And some people might not know what their purpose is or what their passion is. So what happens once you set a goal? and you do everything that you're supposed to try to meet the goal or make the goal or achieve the goal. But what happens if you fail? And that is always a realistic possibility, right? The first man to ever go to the moon, what would have happened if he would not have landed at the moon and instead, oh, well, we're not able to land, we've got to circle and come back? Well, what happens? And I'm not saying that, your goal is necessarily to land on the moon. But, just, again, you have to be realistic that not always will you meet your goals, but you always have to try to meet your goals. Well, article here from Archetypes says, no one likes failure because there's always a disappointing angle to it. But failure is never final. It is only feedback. And what was the quote from Thomas Edison? Even though I think he was an absolutely horrible man, a lot of the things that he did, people, you might be, being like, what are you talking about, Darryl? Thomas Edison was a great American inventor. Well, kind of. Thomas Edison did, kind of invent some stuff. If by invent you mean he took other people's ideas and made them a little better and then was the first guy to go to the patent office, yes, Thomas Edison was an inventor. But there was a statement by Thomas Edison to where he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times, I just found 1,000 ways that the thing did not work. And I think he was speaking about the incandescent light bulb that, again, he did not actually invent. He just found a way to make it better. He took somebody else's work, and the work that he took, the guy said, I'm not going to patent because I want other people to improve on this. So Edison improving on the light bulb wasn't wrong, but patenting something that somebody else created, yeah, that kind of was. But how do you bounce back from failure? Stay tuned, I'll tell you.
During the 2013 Porcupine Freedom Festival, Davy Barker presented an idea for a renegade psychological experiment. Since then, he has refined his idea and put his plan and research into writing. He explains, we aim to show the world beyond a shadow of a doubt that power corrupts absolutely and corrupt authority deserves no obedience. Authoritarian Sociopathy is available from Amazon.com, all major bookstores, and now available as an audiobook. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap, Spendabit, and Amazon at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry. Online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. We'll get back into get into the article on ways to bounce back from failure. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about a way that you can keep your money in the free market. That is, assuming that you use free market money. You do use Bitcoin, right? And you promote it as an alternative to this fiat-centric world that we have. Well, if so, you need Spendabit in your arsenal. Spendabit is a search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin accepting merchant like I am, ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. That's spendabit.fppradio.com. That's spendabit.fppradio.com. So getting back into, or actually just barely getting into this story, 8 surefire ways to bounce back from failure. Failure is never final. It is only feedback. And it is never about how you receive failure that should determine your success. Rather, it is how you respond to failure. You may not like failure, I don't know anybody that does, but most times failure is the stepping stone you need to succeed. There's a book or a blog called Failing Your Way to Success. So just sort of think about that for a moment. Failing your way to success. You keep trying something and you find ways that something doesn't work. So you just keep trying other ways and eventually you find a way that it does. So here are 8 surefire ways to bounce back from failure. Understand the reasons for the failure. You must have failed for a reason. Take responsibility for that and look at what you could have done instead. Perhaps if you had tried a different approach, you would have succeeded. So rather than beat yourself up in regret or disappointment, understand the reasons for failing. And again, it's not about that you failed or how you learned that you failed. It's how you respond to the fact that something did not work the way you want it to. Don't beat yourself up. And this is, as much advice from Darryl as it is the article that I'm reading from, because this is something that, like I've done in the past where things don't work and then I just sort of beat myself up. And, like that's not healthy. So understand the reasons for failing. Don't beat yourself up. Try again. Clarify your expectations. It is always best for you to know what failure and success truly mean. Sometimes we think we have failed because we aren't clear on our expectations. Failure, indeed, is a subjective term. You don't have to be rigid on what success means. One way to bounce back from failure is to always adjust our expectations. Christopher Columbus, or actually Cristobal Colon, as he should properly be called, thought that he was going to India. He wound up not going to India. Was he a success or a failure? I will let you answer that rhetorical question for yourself. But again, clarify and update your expectations as needed. Be consistent about your goals. There's no point in being paralyzed or overwhelmed on the journey to success. Bouncing back from failure is in knowing that you are in it for the long haul rather than the short-term tribulation. You see the future rewards rather than immediate setbacks. Seemingly, you're willing to hang on and lean on doing a particular task consistently to achieve excellence and success. So when you're running, or if you're running a 100-meter hurdle, and that's a track and field event for those of you that might be a little confused on the term here. It's where you're running like a 100-meter dash, and every so many meters, there's a hurdle that you have to jump over. You know that the ultimate goal is to wind up finishing the entire race, running the entire 100 meters, and clearing each hurdle. You don't run and get up to the first one. Oh, dear, what do I do? There's a 3-foot hurdle in front of me. How do I get over this? And then stop. You prepare for the long run. If you're running a steeplechase, again, another track and field event where they've got hurdles and then there's a pond after the hurdle, so you jump onto the hurdle and supposed to leap past the pond. So, you don't run up to that. Oh, dear, what do I do? There's this hurdle and a pond here. I guess I'm just going to throw in the towel and call it a day and quit. No, you prepare for things past that first obstacle. You're in it for the long haul, not until you come up on the first stumbling block or the first hurdle. Next, find knowledge in the process. There are 2 things involved in achieving a goal. There's the cause, and there's the effect. Failure is simply an effect or feedback. Rather than focus on the result, bouncing back from failure means you are willing to work on the process or the cause. You find knowledge in achieving the process and actualizing your goals. Improve on your mistakes. No one is perfect. There will always be mistakes here and there. But truthfully, It's not about the mistakes that you have made, rather it is the direction and knowledge you have gained from making those mistakes. Bouncing back from failure means you are not willing to continue repeating the same mistakes or actions, but are willing to improve and try things differently. Stay tuned. There's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Darryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com.
Hi, this is Davi Barker from ShinyBadges.com, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Hey, it's the closing moments of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, going over 8 surefire ways to bounce back from failure. Let me go back over these one more time. Understand the reason for the failure. Clarify your expectations, meaning that if you felt maybe you got most of the way there, adjust the goal a little bit, but remain committed to actually meeting the goal. So let me sort of explain here a little bit. You clarify your expectations of, well, I can't do 1,000 of these, but I can do 500, or I can do 800. The be consistent about the goal is if something happens and one day you're not able to do, whatever your daily goal was, that's fine. Just keep committed to the ultimate goal. Again, the example I gave was of the track and field runner running a hurdle event where they don't run it, there's this hurdle and I don't know what I'm going to do now. No, they know that the ultimate goal, clear the hurdle, and then you've got 9 more, and then after you clear those, then you're at the finish line. So stay committed, know what the ultimate goal is, but adjust your expectations if you need to. Find knowledge in the process, improve on your mistakes. Next on the list, understand the realities of life. Yes, there will always be factors that are not within our control. This is where attitude comes into play. You should be able to maintain the same joyful attitude in victory or in defeat. The truth is that hard work will not always pay off. Nothing is personal. It's just a reality that there are things beyond our control that have nothing to do with what we did or did not do, or what we did. This is about moving forward in times like this and retaining an attitude that will position you for success. Be realistic, or actually be positive is number 7. Be realistic is number 8. Never focus on negative feedback. You have to understand that there's always a chance for success out there. There's a little bit more written there about be positive, but I want to touch on be realistic here in this final closing moment. Sometimes we aren't realistic enough. This is why failure becomes overwhelming. Success is not for wishful thinkers. You won't be successful if you do not have SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, and realistic, and time-bound. Bouncing back from failure means you are willing to adjust your perspective and do things that will ascertain your responsibility for your own success. Hey, don't forget, every Wednesday I answer your questions. Send those over ama@fppradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copyheart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas, which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.